Thank you for tuning into the highlights of round number 6 of the historic Road Racing Championship, the finale from Le Grand. As we come to this final race, big thanks as always to Just Race for hosting the servers in this entire championship, and to SimplyRace and Aidan Millward & Co. for covering the event. Links to the full broadcast and my point of view can be found in the description. And so now, with the championship on the line, we'll take you to all the drama that was Le Grand, and the highlights from this fantastic event.
The grand finale at Le Grand Circuit in French France. The historic Road Racing Championship comes to a close today, and it's all to play for at the top. You know that track in northwestern France that a 24-hour race is held on? It's that, but not as you know it. Chicanes? What chicanes? 1954 sports cars racing at up to 200 miles an hour for 2 hours through the French countryside with absolutely no room for error. Jernej Simoncic and GPLaps both within a shot of taking the championship today, so it'll be a race of strategy and pace to achieve that top spot and be the king of vintage car racing here in R Factor 2. And to take you through this final race, brought to you by the fine folk at SimplyRace in Milton Keynes, it's myself, Aidan Millward, and with me is probably the only man who would steal a car and keep it taxed and insured. It's Alex Goldschmidt.
Hello, Aidan. Hello, everyone. Lovely introduction, of course, of yours truly. Lastminute.com substitution, I believe. But yeah, a fantastic way to finish off the historic Road Racing Championship. Yeah, if Jake and Jernej do stack it and somehow Ascari wins overall, he could win the overall championship. But we're really looking at Jake and Jernej there at the top, 26 and 22 respectively. I think the maths has escaped me, but I think that if Jernej wins, Jake can finish third. I think that's the max he can achieve and get away with it, as it were. Jernej taking the Isle of Man and Dodron rounds out. He wasn't here for Isle of Man because he was doing the 6 hours of Bahrain virtual Le Mans. Here was the 3-litre Drivers' Championship standings. We're going to be seeing probably more 5-3-2 more than we did at the last couple of rounds. It's been a good balance of circuits this season. Like Longford and Spa, they were 5-litre territory. This is 5-litre territory. The other two classes came back into it for the time trials and that sort of thing. But Ascari Cantonen, I mean, he's won the 2-litre Drivers' Championship. There is no doubt about it. He didn't even need to turn up. Some decent drivers on there, like Isidoro, who won the class at the Isle of Man. Great showing from him. Jake Britton not turning up to the last 3 rounds, but still on a decent haul of points. So we've already seen in the pre-qualifying where Jernej was an absolute savage. I mean, the only drivers to dip between below the 3-minute 52s. Mark Zeidler was quickest in the 3 litres with a 4-minute 3.8, and then Ascari Cantonen and the Mighty D were within half a second of each other in pre-qualifying.
We can see the cars lined up at the start of the race here on the starting grid. Now, remember back in the old days, they would have stood on those circles on the right-hand side and then run to their cars. The honkers coming on, and we are away. A couple of cars appear to have stalled. Everybody is away unless that 286 is just waiting. Oh, my God. Oh, that was almost an accident. But everybody's away. Jernej Simoncic has just absolutely bolted into the lead. A 1 second gap nearly to Nico Hillebrand. Hopefully he doesn't wrap it around a tree this time. Real Deal God is in third. But where is Jake? There he is. I can just see him on the inside heading towards the Dunlop chicane. Mighty D leading the 2-litre class and Rajasu leading the 3-litre class. So everyone's a little bit shuffled up now as they come out of the Dunlop chicanes and head towards Techeroos for the first time. And then as the yellow flag comes out in sector 1, cars just jockeying for position. Hillebrand up the inside of Simoncic. Real Deal God looking at Simoncic as well. Now begins the slipstream battle.
Yeah, this is where it's going to be incredibly interesting as, well, is there an unplanned bump? Because it seems like some cars are going skyward. But yeah, Hillebrand getting the jump on Simoncic early, who's in the tow, and you are literally bump drafting here. There is no Hunaudière, the traditional chicanes that we see nowadays. So I hate to think what speeds they're going to be doing going into Mulsanne, because that's going to be a right old race of knots.
So your top 5 in the 5-litre class as they come up the Mulsanne is Hillebrand, Simoncic. Well, it's Hillebrand, Real Do God, Simoncic, Robillard, Schneider. I'm assuming Jake's a little bit further down than that. The Mighty D leading the 2-litre class. So basically how this has happened is there is a... Oh, there we go. Now they've flicked around as the engine power takes over on the Mulsanne. And yeah, coming up to the hump where where Mark Webber famously flipped it in 1999, or one of the places that he flipped it in 1999. Then the kink before Mulsanne Corner. You can just see it there. It's that elevation a little bit more pronounced on this version. It's been flattened out on the real track since to stop accidents like that CLK doing what it was doing. Real Deal God has taken the lead. Simitrich just about a tenth behind, and then it's all about the braking into Mulsanne Corner. Very tentative on the brakes. Nobody's doing anything stupid, but everything seems to be okay. A couple of kicks of oversteer. You can just see Jake there in the 100, and here come Mark Zeidler and co. That's the wrong way, sir, and you've lost your wheel.
Yeah, I did say about 3 wheels on
Janssen,
those wagons.
I think, that had that unfortunate accident. That's not a good way to start the race. We're barely 3 minutes in.
No, and there's more. Janssen's
still
got
going.
3
There was someone else
he's still
ended up in the
going.
wall.
Yeah, somebody else has ended up in the wall. So yellow outs in sector 2. Yes. Look at the amount of dust they're picking up going through into Maison Blanche. I mean, that is just absolutely ridiculous. They must be pushing at least probably the best part of 150 miles an hour going through that. And yeah, it's. I mean, now Real Deal God is starting to pull away from Jani Simoncic. Gap is now about 0.6 of a second as they head in towards Dunlop. And this right-hand kink on the start-finish straight, very, very deceptive here, I think. Le Mans giveth and it taketh away, and at the moment, at least Real Deal God's having a bit more opportunity of just leading the field, unlike what we saw 2 rounds ago. But this is a nice little battle. This will be for in the 3 litre class. The Mighty D running in the Maserati, showing up in around about 2nd position. But yeah, I think I mean, Nico Hillbrand normally runs with Bela Racing Euronics in the RCCO World EX Championship. So, and again, someone who's competed in rounds over the course of this this championship, not being round for all of them because he's also doing economics as a at university as a student. But still, to see him competing in these old school cars is quite a nice joy to see. Yeah, Austin Birchfield, we've just been informed, is also DNF, was 3rd in pre-qualifying in the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, the 286. Ziedler, leading the 3 litre class, sets the fastest lap in the class, 4 minutes 6.490. Ziedler was actually fastest in pre-qualifying with the 4 minute 3.8. So, but also they've got to conserve they've got to look at the fuel strategy on this, because going out for qualifying and pre-qualifying, completely different kettle of fish altogether, as we both know, Aidan, and the racing is where lap times sometimes are not the most important thing in a race of this stature.
Jackson Robillard in behind Jani Simoncic. Ferrari versus Ferrari. He's not making a move because he's trying to save fuel, and if you save a bit of fuel when you come in for your pit stop, you have less time because you don't have to fill up as much. So, here we go.
Schneider's going around the outside. Hello. Diego Schneider in the 174 Jaguar D-Type. That's allowed, I mean, with the way that Real Deal God's just canted off into the lead, he's got about a 4-second advantage over Jani Simoncic, but this is bringing back Robillard, Schneider, who was looking around the outside going into Mulsanne Corner. Nico Hillbrand's not too far off from this, about 1.1 seconds behind. So, yeah, it seems to be a pretty even mix in the top 5 between Ferrari and Jag at the moment.
Scrapping throughout all of this race. You look at
the 3 wide.
There we go.
They're going into
Salami.
Oh dear.
I was just about to say Salami was only about 0.09 of a second off overtaking wherever it is in front of him, Hammer. So, like I say, everyone's battling, everyone's fighting. We might as well have had an Indy 500 at this point. Oh, sorry, it was Hillebrand that was getting all over the shop. Schneider's gone back into 2nd place. You then got Robillard right at the back of this queue. Simoncic is now in 3rd. Are you keeping up, ladies and gentlemen at home?
That sounded like a tongue twister when you were trying to say all their names in one fell swoop there, Aidan.
Englishman destroys foreign words. Are you surprised? The magic of it.
Oh, nice move by Rajasu to get up into 2nd position. And that was on Woodcock. Richard Woodcock, who was actually 2nd in pre-qualifying, nearly a second behind Mark Ziedler. Ziedler's just absolutely romped away with this one in the 3 litre class. I think also we've had our first pit stop through the Mighty D in the 2 litres.
See some more flip-flopping of positions if Reese Gardner has his way. Chasing Silver Wolf, only about a tenth behind. Driving in the Australian colours of basically British Racing green and gold. It's almost like a posh Norwich City he's driving. The colours of Jack Brabham.
Yep, currently used by the esports team run by son David nowadays. Oh, just like that, Eden, we're a quarter of the way through the race. Just under an hour and a half to go. Semichits is really trying to put the frighteners on Hilbrand. They know each other, as you said, very, very well, but a tighter line taken into Indianapolis before they head towards...
switch back him into
yeah,
into
I was
there.
like thinking... Yeah, I was like thinking...
He would.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Isadoru's just smacked a wall as we get a replay of... I'm assuming this is going to be...
Silver Wolf, I think, yeah.
Silver Wolf, yeah. Does he just overcook it into... turning towards Indy, is that?
And they knock out... Oh, 30-second penalty for Isidoro. Avoidable contact for rear-ending Dion Hansen.
Oh, okay. Ian Munro, you cheeky little devil.
Yes.
Doing it yourself with server commands. Show off.
There's always one, isn't there?
Ah, dear. He thinks he's Jimmy Allison, bless him. Jackson Robillard up the back bottom of Jacob Demarais. We'll use his proper French name as he's in France. Speaking of France, Erwan Bergier in his Gordini. He's trying to make a move on Johnson for 4th in that 3 litre class. There's a nice little train there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. It's one car getting a little bit offline and then getting a bit slidey. Tom Lane in the wall. That will be the reason for these yellow flags, I think.
Oh,
there we go. I just like someone just randomly joining the race.
It's like a continuing on 3 wheels, apparently, courtesy of Ian Munro. Oh, and that is a whoops.
That's not good. Speaking of the first pit stops, Ascari Kantonen, Alberto Oscari himself is in the pits. So the way this will work in our Factor 2 is they will dive into the pit lane to the right of that yellow line and then pull into their pit box. And unlike in other simulations on the market, there is collisions in the pit lane in our Factor 2. So if they try to drive through people to get to their box, or their box is filled, they are in trouble because they will damage their cars.
Great little battle here. Now, this is for the de facto class lead at the moment because Clinton's still in the pit lane, but Hamart's been flirting with the barriers and is sideways. Oh, dearie me, that was coming towards Tetra Rouge. And Diego Schneider, we've just been informed, has hit the wall. There's a yellow out in Sector 3. That was at Indy, and he's also got 3 wheels on the wagon. And there is said 174 Jaguar. Oh, dear.
Schneider was running right at the top of the standings as well, so we'll see if we can get a replay of what happened to him, because I can't recall if he was fighting with anybody at any point. So this is a replay of Diego heading towards Indy. And he's just overshot it.
It's like which circuit is it? Oh well, he's still got 3 wheels, 4 wheels on the car, and then the wheel just gives way after that.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a. I think it's just the way the replays in our Factor 2 render themselves. So he's basically overshot the kink and just smacked into that embankment, and then let's just rip the wheel off as the alert goes fastest in the 3 litre class. Saying that, I know a guy who's got himself a full race suit of the esports team he drives for, so Some people have either got more money in sense or they take it very, very seriously. As Simičić brings his Ferrari into the pit lane, or stopped a bit too early.
With the full-on chin strap as well. Moralato spun coming onto the Malzahn, apparently. Oh, now, did he have a problem with fueling up?
That's what it was saying when it... He's driving around with virtually no fuel in the tank, isn't he? This might hand Jake the title, you know. Yeah, when we went on to Nico's stream, it was saying that it wasn't giving him a pit service.
Oh dear. Oh, and there is and that is Moralato. What a place to spin it as well.
It's just before Arnage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seeing the 5 litres just past the other classes like they're not even there.
Yeah, that was Real Deal God going past the 386 of Moralato.
Could you imagine Jake putting together the highlights of this? I was like, I can't use that. They're talking about cricket. Can't use that. They're talking about rugby.
I haven't made any basketball or baseball references yet. No, we won't.
The Trams are having a quiet race there in 5th in 3 litres. This is probably the closest battle we've got on track right now. The Gordini T24S model. And chasing down the 218 on the run between what appears to be Mulsanne and Indy.
Oh, we could see a moment where our 2 main championship protagonists might be, well, one might be lapping the other very shortly, and that's Jake closing on Yerne.
Jake closing on Yerne to lap him.
There they are.
We'll just pretend that it's for position.
Yep. Right. This could be a side-by-side. It will be a side-by-side, and Nitramson's got past for 4th. Nice little use of the side draft there, as well as the slipstream.
Real Deal God still keeping the gap there at 8.5, which is pretty good. And it's Nico, Jake, Jackson Robillard, and Morea. It's basically the Jag show out there at the minute in 5 litre. 3 litres being led by Merckx. And then the 2 litres is basically the Maserati show.
Yeah, and Oskari Sisu Kantanen has got a gap over Salami of 26.5 seconds and climbing.
Simičić in 7th with GPLaps in front. Sticking with him though, probably just trying to save fuel. I think the best thing that Yerne can hope for is that Jake or Nico or any of the other drivers fall victim to that same bug he encountered.
Yeah.
In the words of Christian Horner, he needs a miracle.
Oh, Real Deal God's just gone off at Indy. The first mistake for the 182. Well, that was a lovely panoramic helicopter shot we just saw just then as Real Deal God goes grass tracking again, and there's Nico Hilbrand, and again. Oh no, Real Deal God is off, and he's collected the 218, and that was Toby Johnson in the 3 litre class, and there is 3 wheels on that wagon. Oh dearie me, Real Deal God has got it all out. Wrong. Oh dear.
That is suboptimal, as they say.
That means Jake's going to get second.
Now.
Yep.
Still 25 seconds behind Hildebrand, though. So this is the accident that caused Hillebrand to gain on Real Deal Gold on the run down towards Indianapolis here. So you just overcook it. He's on the he's on the inside. Oh, yeah. I think he was trying to lap Reese Gardner and overcooked it. Don't know if that messed up his suspension or his toe or anything like that. Got the car crabbing a little bit. 216 is in behind, and then it went the way we saw it happen. So at least Simičić is going to get a lap back with the amount of time that Real Deal Gold's going to be spent in the pit lane.
Lascari is right on the back bumper of Tramson there. Yes, and you can hear as they roar past. Well, you hear the wasp buzzing in the can edition from Oscari, and then the rumble of Tramson going past in the 3 litre.
Probably a point at when they accelerate that they harmonise exactly. Yeah, no, in should be a short fill for him, given that he's been saving fuel for the last half an hour or so. There he is, leaving the pit lane.
Oh, and there's been a problem for Jackson Robillard. Ian Monroe's just told us that he's just overshot his pit box. Whoops.
Well, that's better than not being serviced at all, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would take the second or two loss than have to drive around at 30 miles an hour to make sure you've got enough fuel to get back round again.
The interesting thing from my perspective, though, Aidan, is that Jake is only 11 seconds behind Nico for the race lead.
Yeah, that gap's come down quite a way, but he's also pulling away from Simičić.
Now, I'm wondering... Yeah, because that gap was 11 seconds. It's now gone to 8.5. So has Nico had a bit of a moment? That's what I'm thinking. Oh, is someone just...
Has someone else gone off there? I just heard that. I heard that.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I was like thinking, oh, Diego Schneider again.
Doing a drag race up the Mulsanne. Replay here of sideways, presumably getting sideways.
Oh, there's 3 wheels on the wagon as well.
No, yeah, let's turn it to a Reliant Robin and just.
He's done. He's like the Sting in Top Gear.
Yeah. No,
Richard.
No. Sounds heard before disaster.
It was like, and then an expletive of your choice.
I don't think he even got to the expletive. I think he just got to the O, and then maybe the beginning of the F or the sh, but that was it. Yeah, I think he's just saving himself for the Mulsanne here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not going to chance it through Dunlop. Can't chance it through Tetra Rouge, but if he gets a good run coming out of Tetra Rouge, then he'll line it up. He'll tee it up nicely. And he's sticking with Rujasu as we head into the final 10 minutes battle for P2 in the 3 litre class. Very, very hotly contested. And a little bit closer to the wall by Nitramson. Might have given him a bit more momentum coming through Tetra Rouge now. I'll head on to the Mulsanne very shortly, but yeah, I think Rujasu knows that there's going to be enough as Oscar Cantonen finished sideways right there, coming through sets the exit of Tetra Rouge.
If he can Scandi flick anywhere, he will.
Oh, yeah, like we saw at Dundrod.
That was great.
Been pretty flawless for Mark Ziedler, though. He's on course to getting his second win of the championship, having done so back at the Isle of Man at round 3. Profiled as now Nico Hillebrand is making his way through. We've got just 4 minutes on the clock to go.
Yeah, he can actually afford to slow right down and cross the line just as the time expires, but as it stands, he might have to do one more lap after this. got to drive fast enough to keep up, but slow enough to save.
Well, that's brave. To the outside, Bugia gets through on Nitramson for third position, going on as we have got someone going to pit lane. And now Oskari Kantonen is the 2-litre meat and a 3-litre sandwich.
All right, so Nico Hillebrand coming through the final few kinks here. And he will be the final winner of the final race of the HRRC season. Some would call it redemption for what's happened in other rounds. He's going to be a very happy man crossing the line in the Jag. GPLaps Jake will be second in approximately 20 seconds or so, and will take the championship win. Helped in a way by the glitch that Jurnej Simoncic suffered in his pit stop, but it's kind of the equivalent of something going wrong in real life, isn't it? So kind of denied the championship battle that we wanted coming in, but Jake, a very worthy winner in his own league, so that probably means it was rigged. But Maria will take a very anonymous but very, very good third. He's about a minute behind Hillebrand at this point, so just going to have to wait a little bit for him to cross the line. And then, all being well, he'll be followed by Jackson Robillard and Scooby Simoncic will finish in 6th and just lose out on the championship at this point. So, has he got the pace? Has he got the slipstream? I think he's got. He might get this. He might have this.
He might. Yeah,
he has.
That.
Right on the line.
So we'll take a look at the race results, and it was Nicolas Hillebrand taking the win in his Jaguar, just 19 seconds up the road from myself. Moria joins us for a Jaguar podium, all 3 steps. In 4th place, Jackson Robillard leads the Ferrari charge ahead of Scooby, and Jurnej Simoncic, after his unfortunate pit stop issues, comes home 6th, still able to pick up a point in the 5-liter class and overall. And then to Mark Zeidler finishing 8th overall in an utterly dominant performance, winning the 3-liter class ahead of Rujatsu, and Ervan picking up the last step of the podium. And then for the 2-liter class, it was Oskari Kantonen, of course, taking the win ahead of Salami and Reese Gardner, Southpaw Racer, 3rd in class for that podium finish. And so finally, the overall championship standings after the calculations and drop races. It's myself, Jacob Demarais, finishing first, just 4 points ahead of Jurnej Simoncic, who somehow didn't figure it out coming into this final round, but we were essentially tied with drop races. And so it really was all on the line for this one, and it's unfortunate that it came down to pit stops and errors and things, as it were. Certainly not the head-to-head battle that I think we were hoping for. Jackson Robillard finishes 3rd overall in his Ferrari ahead of Oskari Kantonen in the 2-liter Maserati, finishing 4th in the overall championship. And you'd have to imagine if the track selection were different, Oskari would very much be in the mix. But on this set of tracks, to come away with a 4th overall is so very impressive. The Manufacturers' Championship was decided before Legrand, but Ferrari were the victors, just 2 points over Jaguar. Despite Jaguar picking up the full 8 points with Nico's win, just wasn't quite enough to overcome the deficit from earlier in the season. And so the 5-liter championship looks very much the same as the overall, with myself just 5 points above Jurnej. Jackson Robillard comes away 3rd, with Scooby 4th, Moria 5th, and Montas in 6th, driving that Lagonda. In the 3-liter championship, it was Rujatsu putting together a solid season with 25 overall points and picking up the championship win. Mark Zeidler comes away with 2nd after his win and fastest qualifying time at Legrand, ahead of Eduardo Benica, Rupe Kirkipa, and Martin Baer to round out the top 5. And then for the 2 leaders in the class with the most point-scoring drivers on the season, Oskari Kantonen comes away with the win by a long shot. 34 points on the season, and for the class championships has the most dominant season of all. But that's not to say the class wasn't interesting. Darren Andrews and Silberwolf fought it out, and after Silberwolf's unfortunate accident here at Legrand, Darren was able to pick up that 2nd place finish and relegate Silberwolf back to 3rd, ahead of Jake Britton and Reese Gardner tied for 4th in points. And then last but not least, the fun hot lap challenge in which Oskari Kantonen once again showed his dominance and came out the winner, scoring a total of 6 points on the season ahead of Jurnej Semencic's 4, and myself and Martin Beyer tied for third with 3 points apiece. And so the points and the records give us a picture of what happened this season. But for all of us competing, I know it meant quite a lot more. So for the nearly 300 drivers who entered the championship and the hundreds who qualified for the races, I hope it was an enjoyable and memorable experience for all. What started as a fun idea to pair some of my favorite circuits and favorite mods for a sim attracted a really fun and competitive atmosphere. Will really give a lot of meaning when I think back to 2022. So I have to thank once again Just Race for giving us servers and support to host all these races on, to SimplyRace and Aiden Millward and the other broadcasters for commentating on these races and helping give us something to watch and enjoy them from. And of course, to you watching. The feedback for this little series has been great, with over 250,000 views across all the different streams and things. I know it's very much been enjoyed by some, and glad we could provide some of that entertainment. But that wraps us up for the 2022 Historic Road Racing Championship. So wherever the road takes us next, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all again next time.